Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who watched my quit my job and moved abroad video, you know that a few years back I found myself in a situation where I was not living a life that I was meant to be living. I was living a life for others. So one day I realized this and I bought a one-way ticket and moved to South America, where I spent the next 2 years of my life. And ever since, I've been trying to pursue what makes me happy, what my passions are, what makes me, me. And while I'm not perfect at it, I do try. Now that I'm back in the States, people ask me all the time, Sam, how did that experience change you? What did you learn from being abroad? And quite honestly, I don't know that I'm one of those people that, went abroad and now I came back and I think I'm this changed spiritual person. But what I will say, and kind of putting together some thoughts on paper for this video specifically, I began to reflect and I began to realize that there are certain perspectives on life, on my values, on my country, that now maybe have altered slightly. So I wanted to take the time and just share with you guys 10 things that I learned while being abroad and living in a third world country. Now this list was really tricky to make because the two countries that I spent the most time in, Argentina and Colombia, are so vastly culturally different. So what I tried to do is kind of understand, okay, what are some trends that I had noticed through traveling all around, not just those two countries, and how do they compare and contrast to my personal experience growing up in the States. Also, I fully acknowledge any privilege that I have as a white, English-speaking, and perhaps American, and will do my best to express any personal experience or opinion that I have from being fully immersed in these countries for 2 years as nothing more than a personal opinion and personal experience, okay? And I cherish that experience so wholeheartedly. The last thing I would want to do is to offend anybody. And also, while I'm at it, I love my own country too, the United States of America. Love all around. I love everything. I love everyone. Good vibes. So let's get to it. Number one. Without generalizing, but also generalizing, we Americans are guilty car door slammers. I cannot tell you the amount of times I was scolded by taxi drivers for slamming the door too hard when I first moved down to Argentina. And it was funny because every subsequent friend or family member who would come to visit me, anytime we would get in a taxi or Uber, it was like the driver would just cringe and wince, just expecting before it was even done. So maybe we really do slam our doors hard here in the States. What do you guys think? Number two, the importance of family and friendships. When I decided I wanted to move down there and pursue that dream of mine, I wanted the full immersion experience. I changed all of my phone settings, my computer settings to Spanish. I would only listen to TV and radio in Spanish. I started dating an Argentine guy. I got a job at an Argentine company. I was all in with this experience. And part of the consequence of that was that I really shut out any and everything English speaking. Now in tandem, one of the beautiful things about a lot of Latin American cultures is this familial way of life. Everything's about the family. And it was a sort of irony where the more and more that I became immersed, coming on my second year there, the more and more I began to miss mine. So thank you, Latin America, for reminding me how beautiful and how important it is to cherish friendships and family. Thank you. Number three, apparently our butts as Americans are dirtier than the rest of the world. My ex was so grossed out by the fact that I would not use his bidet. Like there was something about it I just couldn't get with it. I didn't love the post bidet, cold, wet, and clammy butt cheek feeling to go walk. No, it just wasn't gonna happen for me. Number four, we are very, as Americans, PC or politically correct. At least by comparison to some of these countries. And again, this is just my opinion. I'm not generalizing. Like, I could not believe some of the things that my ears received when I first moved down to Argentina. Che, Sam, ¿por qué no invitas tu amiga, la gorda? Esa Sofía era? I'm sorry? Che, Sam, ¿qué pasó? ¿Por qué estás tan flaquito? Dale, cómete algo, una hamburguesa, dale, porfa. I'm skinny? Che, Sam, si vamos al chino a comprar más leche, vamos. Dude, are you talking about the deli that just so happens to be run by a Chinese family? You can't just call it that. Sí, dale, vamos, basta. But for them, all these were just simple adjectives. They were nothing more than a descriptor to describe factually what they were trying to talk about. Maybe that day really was skinny, and you know, that deli down the street really was owned by an immigrant Chinese family. So it's neither right nor wrong, it's just very culturally different, I suppose. Now, what was my biggest descriptor, you might ask? Rubio. Blonde. Hands down. Ah, sí, esa rubio. Sam es un crack, esa rubio. And yet, I am not blonde. I clearly have brown hair. Really quickly, guys, big shout out and big thank you to my friends at White with Style for sponsoring this video and for believing in my smile and my teeth, I guess, thank you. And also for legitimately making them whiter. I've actually worked with them to ensure that I can give to you guys a pretty hefty discount code at 90% if you guys are interested in making your smile even whiter and brighter. I've included that code down below. I tried it out this week, you guys. It was actually really easy. It just takes a few steps. You'll want to first brush your teeth, rinse them, make sure they're nice and clean. Then you'll take out the White with Style trays. Next, you'll place the gel gently within the trays and put those trays into your mouth. Finally, you'll apply the light up to your mouth, which will kind of activate the gel. Happy smiling. Number 5, my country, my beloved country, USA, I love you so much, I really do. But I think you could stand to learn a thing or two about being eco-friendly. Something that really shocked me about living in both Colombia and Argentina was how eco-friendly they were. In Colombia, for example, they had this whole regulation called pico y placa, which basically prohibited certain vehicles on the road that had certain license plate numbers on any given day to reduce the amount of carbon emissions, which I thought was kind of an amazing thing. And it really encouraged public transport, it encouraged ride sharing, pooling. There was really a consideration for Mother Nature as an integral part of society. I remember walking down the streets and there'd be signs about, you know, squirrels might be crossing or birds might be flying overhead. And Argentina was pretty similar. And every deli or chino that you go into or grocery store, they would charge you for plastic bags. And I mean everywhere, not just like a Whole Foods. Which again, great incentive to not use plastic bags. Number 6, how to love. I don't usually talk about this, as you guys know, simply out of respect and out of privacy. Within the first month that I moved down to Argentina, I got myself into a really serious 2-year relationship with an Argentine. We lived together, we spoke Spanish together, we cared for a dog together, and at one point we even worked together. I don't think I'd ever been in love with anyone before that, so thank you, you know who you are, for teaching me how to love. Honestly, gracias. Number 7, very obvious, but Spanish, español. I grew up with so many culturally diverse friends. I grew up with friends who spoke Arabic, friends who spoke Farsi, friends who spoke Hindi, friends who spoke Polish, Lithuanian, Italian, and here I was, my boring, white, Midwestern self, not cultured, and kind of upset about it. So not to be braggadocious, but I am really proud of myself for setting a goal to become bilingual and actually following through on that. Like, it's something that I might talk about a lot in these videos, but it's just because I'm proud of myself for doing it. Now please, Latino friends, practica conmigo, practice with me so I don't lose it. Número 8, sí, yes. Patience. I learned that patience is a virtue. Not to generalize, but Americans can be, myself included, can be very anxious sometimes. And I learned this the hard way. I actually don't think that I even consider myself a really anxious, timely, orderly kind of person until I was put in a more relaxed context. And in particular, meetings and start times to those meetings. I could not get over the fact that anytime I would set a meeting on somebody's agenda, it was commonplace to show up, you know, stroll in, maybe 10 to 15 minutes late, sipping their mate, chit-chatting, and I was just enraged. I think we grew up in the States with this notion that it's disrespectful to be late, right? And I still kind of feel that, but I will say it just taught me to be patient and to stay calm and to stay collected, because they didn't mean it rudely, they didn't mean it in a bad way, it was just a cultural difference. And I had to adjust, I was living in their country. I had to learn to think and to say as they do. You know, they always say, ya fue, tranquilo, no te preocupes. Relax, chill. But what it really meant was, Sam, take a chill pill, F off, you're being crazy. Number 9, things are grande. Things are big in the States. They're big. They're really freaking big. When I flew back home to the States in October, I experienced something actually really cool. Reverse culture shock. My entire trajectory back to the States, from the Uber to the airplane to the airport, everything was just filled with these aha moments. The highways felt massive, the cars felt massive, the people felt massive, the meals felt massive, the houses were massive. Everything was huge. Is that how he says it? Huge. Everything was huge. 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 I can't do that. The second thing I noticed was the diversity. And don't get me wrong, Latin America is so, and not even to group them together, both individually, Argentina and Colombia are so diverse in their own right. But I just realized, walking through the Dallas airport on my layover to Chicago, that the United States of America really is a melting pot of languages, of ethnicities, and I just loved it. And quite honestly, I had missed that. Number 10, woo! I learned to be comfortable with being uncomfortable and to be comfortable with ambiguity and learned to be comfortable with the unknown. And not just the perpetual unknown of literally unknowing things that were going on in my day-to-day conversations just because lack of vocabulary and understanding, but beyond that, things like the economy, for example. Oh my gosh, the Argentines have had a history of a very volatile economy. So they're actually incredible entrepreneurs because they are able to prepare and lean into the discomfort of not knowing what's gonna happen tomorrow. Everything was just so unpredictable. To put it into perspective, when I arrived to Buenos Aires, the exchange rate from the US dollar to the Argentine peso was 1 to 17. When I left 2 years later, it had more than doubled. It was 1 to about 65. And I had to be okay with the fact that, even though I really wasn't earning very much at all in pesos, I lost a large percentage of my money being down there just by inflation. I had to be okay with, the banks might not have money for me. If I want to withdraw it all tomorrow, they might not be able to. I had to be okay with, the constant strikes that go on down there and the protests that shut things down for days on end. Props to any Argentine who's listening to this. You guys are so badass and strong-willed and resilient. Ya fue, as they say. Ya fue. Tranquilo. Overall, you guys, the feeling is pure gratitude. Gratitude for the people that I met, the connections that I made, the places that I saw, the things that I saw, and the experiences that I had, and perspective alterations that I'm only now in making this video I'm realizing. So I want to know, would you guys ever go and live abroad? That was a big Sam's bucket list item for me. What's something on the you bucket list that you've done or that you want to do? Let me know down in the comment section below. And if you like this video, like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And turn the bell notifications set to on so you'll be notified first of any updates. I love you guys. I love you guys. I love you guys. I love you guys. A million times over. Ciao. Nos vemos.